All right.
Okay,
Am I
we're live.
co-host? Let me get my screen up so I can let people in.
We are live. We're streaming. Say hi.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. Shredders Unite Business Call. We're 30 minutes late this evening, and I appreciate you guys so much for allowing me to be tardy.
We're streaming. Say hi.
Awesome. Welcome this evening, and I appreciate you guys so much for allowing me to be tardy. Okay, that we're on. We're recording. Melanie, go ahead and you can share it to the groups. Good evening, everybody. I am so excited because this is my last call of November. What year is this? 2021?
Oh boy.
It is. Well, not just for the last call for November this month. Hectic day, crazy day, but as network marketers, you need to do what's required to be successful. So sometimes you need to make an adjustment. You got to kind of pivot one way or the other, but you want to make it work. Bottom line is Shredders Unite. We're here to share because we care. We've had an amazing, I think the last couple of calls this last month, it's been the best that we've had yet. We're really beginning to hone in on the messaging and a lot of aha moments. And I'm going to start off this evening by sharing an epiphany that I had that at the ripe old age of almost 60, I've got about 20 days and I turned 60, I think. It was just an awareness that it just finally hit me. And what I have to tell you is that the opportunity to be an ambassador for ER Shred, thank you, Sean and Crystal, the opportunity to come on and to do these Facebook Lives, which is a Zoom call live, if you will, and speak from the heart or spontaneously on topics that hopefully interest our community from a business standpoint. The hardest thing that I've had to overcome is I would say with Sean, myself, the board, there's been years of conversation that have gone in behind the concept of ER Shred. And as such, we really understand the vision and the mission, but then my difficulty is how do you translate that? How do you communicate to your audience? And something occurred to me. This was on the Eleni call. It was an amazing call. It was probably the best call as it relates to results based on people's perception and also the comments that people shared with me. And I honestly, and I'm going to call my good buddy Sean out, I didn't get it. And it was the understanding that Sean gave me that it just finally hit me. And that is when I'm communicating to everybody in Facebook, or obviously within our ER Shred community, I'm looking at it through the lens of my experience and my understanding. And a lot of the analogies that I make, I will put in a format of lessons learned, either or books that I have read, or quotes, or understanding of business, or the 18 years of Isagenix, or learning from Sean in terms of what works, what does not work. Really trying to basically go back and buy into the ideals of John Anderson and what Tony and Randy Escobar portrayed in the very beginning, where we talked about results. The bottom line is this, is that sometimes I say things and I don't understand why other people may not understand it, but it's because of the context or how I'm positioning that statement. And bottom line is this, I'm grateful for Lenny Evans. It was a crazy good call. I honestly, we don't rehearse these things. Lenny, I think I spoke to 6 months prior. And between those two dates, he was lost in the woods somewhere. We had not spoken. I had no idea what would be on his mind or what he was going to share. But as my wife will point out this evening, when you have the right intention and when you basically have a heartfelt intention and you put it out to the universe, you put it out to God to basically take control and guide you, the right things happen. And what occurred last week was the comment on gratitude. In my mind, I've been preaching the same message since last year when I started doing these calls. I over and over and over again, talking about gratitude being the real vibrational energy that carries the business, and that there's that association between cleansing the body, detoxing, getting rid of all the garbage, elevating your mood, energetically having more energy, you're excited, happier, etc. Right? And that what happens is that your vibration rises and you start to attract others. And then, of course, when others ask, my God, Allie, you look wonderful. What have you been doing? Oh my God, I found this amazing community called ER Shred. It's rocked my world. It's crazy good. I feel better, have more energy, better sleep, lost weight, whatever it might be. They too then want to take a look. But the real benefit of this in the business side is the gratitude. And that is, there's not a business in the world that I am familiar with. Maybe if you're a nurse, maybe if you're a doctor and you save someone's life, maybe you get that type of gratitude. But I guess with the good comes the bad. Not everybody gets healthy again. I've never seen a business whereas if you just share your good fortune with others and you support them in the same manner that you were supported, the gratitude that comes back to you is like tenfold. And the feeling, it blows your heart up. It literally fills you. It gives you, in my view, it gives me a life purpose. That gratitude carries you because it feels so good. You feel indebted that it would be selfish of me not to share ER Shred. And that propels the business. Well, thank you to Lenny Evans. If you're watching tonight, Lenny, it was the perfect aha moment because not only did you have an epiphany, Sean Escobar had the aha light bulb moment, as did Jesse Jamnick. And I was blown away because all it did is that they understood the words, but I think for whatever it was, that magical moment allowed them to identify with Lenny, and it took them to the next level of awareness. And for that, I'm very, very grateful. For me, I apologize to all you guys out there that listen to me drone on that, when I talk about Apple, I'm not talking about that I love Apple, that it's the end all be all from a product standpoint. But what I do love about Apple is the genius of Steve Jobs, which is his marketing genius. That's what he's known for in the business world. He's considered the marketing genius. And if you look at how he created his culture, how he positioned his products, how he didn't say, I'm bigger, faster, stronger than you are, or feature benefit, or pain, buy me, pain, buy me. He literally said, we're unique, we're different, we're the crazy ones. I happen to believe that our computer, our experience, our user experience is a better one. That's all it was. Come try us, see what you think. What we're doing with ER Shred is very similar. And if people are confused about I'm pro Apple versus pro PC, I don't have a dog in that hunt. I'm pro Steve Jobs from the marketing standpoint, from his genius and how he cares about his culture and how he cares about everybody that uses a Mac. And that is, he created a safe place. He created a place where people felt like being creative. He created a space that people could grow. And when I look at what Sean and Crystal have created, that's the first thing that came to mind is, oh my God, this is what Steve Jobs did with Apple. So for those of you that did see the Apple commercial that's 100 years old, I realize it came out, actually I had to look it up. It came out in 1997, but we forget that was still 24 years ago. That would be like me in the 80s telling you, did you see that commercial that came out in 1965? You'd be like, what? Right? I totally get that now. Taken out of context. That said, that one commercial was considered one of the greatest advertisements in the advertising industry. But it was really coming out at a moment in time when Apple was within months of going bankrupt. You wouldn't know it, but basically what they had to do is they had to change mind share. They had to change the view of what the world thought of Apple at that time. Steve Jobs had been kicked out of his own company and had been gone, I think since 1985, 86 is when the CEO from PepsiCo took over. But he had to come back in and basically grab the reins and he had to turn around the Titanic. And he had to begin to do that with the vision and his messaging. And that was, we are different. We are the crazy ones because we think we can change the world. And that's really what I look at ER Shred. When we continue to talk about the impact that we're making on the individual, the focus, the recognition, all of this has a purpose. There isn't an intention. And I hope, and I want to bring this up tonight because it came up again as a discussion. There is many ways to skin a cat. There's a lot of different ways to approach the business of network marketing, and that you too may be successful. We have found what has worked best with our core products as relates to focusing on the individual. And that's really the ideals of John Anderson and what Tony and Randy Escobar were so good at communicating in the beginning. We're focusing on the individual results, and we're creating a culture around that. We know for a fact that if we're going to build a business, that one of the key things in the business is building community. People will do more for others than they will do for themselves. And I want you to think about that, but that is the truth. You will do more for your children than you will do taking care of yourself. Nurses, doctors, they literally serve others all day long on their health and wellness, yet they tend to be some of the people who are the least healthy. Bottom line is there's a rhyme, there's a reason, and there's a purpose. Susan, look, our new Heart of ER Shred recipient. Congratulations, Susan. She had a question of me the other night, and I was talking with her, and she said, Bob, what drives you? What lights you up? And she kind of flipped it on me, right? So she was basically coaching me. And what came to mind is I said, I hope that everything that I do within the ER Shred community, I do with intention and I do it with purpose. I said, for example, Susie, I'm talking with you right now because I want to make sure you understand how valuable you are to our community, but I also want to underscore and underline the messaging and the intent and why we're doing this. We understand that Isagenix is a large corporation and that there's many ways to approach the business. We also, I've been in it for almost 18 years in March, so 17 and 3/4 years. Sean's been in it for almost 20 years plus. His family's been in, he's been exposed to the industry since he was 10. We've seen a lot of good and bad things, but I hope people appreciate and take to heart what we've created with number one and first and foremost is the ER Shred community. And when I talk about the business, yes, we're going to get into blocking and tackling and showing you guys some of the nuances of the business model, which is low vibrating and can be quite boring. But the messaging is basically the community. It goes full circle. You take care of yourself, you feel better, your energy shifts, you are higher vibrating, you're more exciting, you're more magnetic, you're more attractive to others. People then ask you, oh my God, Mimi, you look amazing. What has happened to you in the past 12 months? I've been watching your lives and I just don't get it. It's incredible. You're getting younger. And then Mimi says, oh my gosh, I got the most amazing community. I want you to go to ershredders.com, find me, or go to YouTube. I will be happy to answer any questions, but you've got to see the community. You've got to see what's happening in our world. And the business is sharing. You share because you care. And I want you not to lose sight of that, because if you get caught up in the numbers, if you get caught up into it, I'm doing it for the money, which is not a bad thing, but it can't be your why. Simon Sinek, I use him as an example because, well, he happens to be my favorite, but he's one of the best. Start with your why. Excellent book, one of the top business books you'll ever get. And you can use it for business, your personal life, but understand why you're doing it. What's the purpose behind it? Is it aligned with your core values? I think ER Shred is aligned with all of my core values. The business, looking at the bigger picture, is the same thing. Why am I doing the business? Personally, I'm doing the business because I want to positively impact lives. My prayer when I left the financial industry was simply, dear Lord, give me an opportunity to provide for myself and my family while I can serve others and make a positive difference. I no longer felt whole or fulfilled making rich people richer. That's kind of what I did as a money manager. It's kind of disgusting, but in a way, there's nothing wrong with it. But at the same time, it wasn't fulfilling me at the time. And as my wife may talk about tonight, because I was not in alignment with my core values, my world fell apart. It did. I mean, everything went bad. Divorce, you name it. right? At that point in time, on my hands and knees and praying, that's when literally Isagenix showed up in my life. And I still didn't see it for 2 years regarding the business. But thankfully, because of my results, I shared it. I stayed engaged. In about 2006, I finally said, okay, Peter, let me visit the company because I actually like what I see, but I want to see the management. I want to see who's running the company. And I went to Top Achievers January 2006. And for me, that's what changed my mindset as it relates to network marketing in general, because what I didn't understand, every company is unique and different and has its own business model. So I'm off my little preacher desk for the night. There is a rhyme, a reason, and a method behind everything we do inside of ER Shred and what we do on Shredders Unite. If you have a question, please reach out and ask any of us, Sean, myself, Jesse. Please just let us know what your concerns are or your views are. That said, we're here to protect the community first and foremost and the integrity of that community. We know that by creating this culture, this will allow others to succeed. And the idea is I'm not just looking for people that are the 1%ers that will literally blow up my downline and attract 20,000 people, or there are 100,000 followers on Instagram or whatever. That's not the person I'm looking for. But if it's a Melanie, if it's Mimi, if it's Don Drury, if it's John Bear, if it's Susan Look, Susan Rothman, Heather Sika Leonard, any of you can succeed in this business model. This is simple, easy, and it will duplicate. And if you can understand the reasoning behind the message, that's my job. And I apologize if it's taking me 10, 11 months to figure this out, that not all of you are wearing my eye goggles or understand Steve Jobs or Apple, or maybe the business cases that I have been familiar with since 1980s. So, or the early 80s. That said, my special guest tonight, I want to build upon literally last week's call, which is gratitude. And as Lenny finally acknowledged, gratitude is the highest vibrational energy in the universe. They say it's even greater than love. Pretty close, but I kind of understand that, because when someone says thank you to me, it fills me. It literally lights me up. I understand that. Hopefully the second time around, I was given a wonderful chance to have a relationship. I think I've shared my story before. Like many of you, I was basically doing my affirmations. I had my list of goals, I am. And actually one night I sat down and wrote down the characteristics of my perfect mate. Now, the funny part of this story is I didn't mention age, religion, or color of hair, but I focused on the person. I focused on the person. Yeah, I didn't say like curly brown hair or long hair or short hair, but I'm just saying that I put down from my heart what I was looking for in a perfect mate. And oddly enough, by putting that out there to the universe or to God or whoever you like, your higher source of power, Allison came into my life, and then it just kind of fell into a natural rhythm from helping her with her business. I didn't have to show her a lot, just had to basically tune her in. Here's how we do it and why. And she took off like a rocket. And luckily she said yes. And we got married May 12th, 2018. I think I got the date right even. Right? I'm looking at it for confirmation. Good. Okay. But what I wanted to mention all this tonight is, if you're lucky enough, and I think Sean and Crystal have that type of relationship, if you're lucky enough to find your soulmate, they will elevate you to be a better person. And so I want to introduce my wife, Allie Sievewright. She has been the heart behind my transformation. She's allowed me to grow spiritually. And I thought I was a pretty spiritual person doing my yoga since 2006. But really, it's a growth process. It's a transformation that comes from within. Part of that is getting your right nutrition. Part of that is detoxing. But part of it is filling your mind with the right information. And I will say, Allie completed that puzzle for me. And a lot of the things that I share within the air shred and a lot of ideas or concepts that I personally get, I get it from Allison. So without further ado, my special guest is my wife, Allie Sievewright.
Hello.
How are you, sweetie?
Hello. I'm good. The puppy was nice and calm, and now he's like wanting attention. So I can't tell if he wants to go out or come on my lap. So
On your lap. Hopefully he'll come down here.
hold on. I think he might want to go out. Hold on.
So for those that don't know, our youngest puppy is Teddy Shredder. Teddy Shredder, he lives up to his reputation, and he's full of piss and vinegar. But Sean was kind enough to say he's our mascot. By many our mascot. Thank God he's only 20 pounds. If this boy was 50 pounds.
This is actually his way of playing. He's not ferocious.
So as I said myself earlier, I have a hard time sometimes communicating with people, and maybe you're not ready for what I'm saying. This is that's Teddy's way of communicating. That's his way of showing love. We were a little scared of him in the beginning for obvious reasons. Okay, so you have him. Allison, what I would like to do, and you and I haven't talked all day, because for those that do not know,
literally have not talked all day. I don't even know what we're doing other than it's the full moon tonight. It's a lunar eclipse. It's the longest partial lunar eclipse in like 600 years. So it's a powerful night.
It's a witchy night.
It's a very witchy night.
Well, that means good stuff
which
happens.
I'm very excited about.
Good things happen on nights like this. So for those that do not know, I took a job at a health club selling memberships, a high-end health club here in Chicagoland, with the intent of me getting out into a demographic of people who are looking to improve their lives. And there's nothing better than getting out and meeting people who are joining a health club. And I'm with Midtown Tennis. And the neat thing is I do it part-time, which allows me to do this. But the frustration is sometimes like tonight, running a little late. And thank you for allowing me to start this thing at 7:30. With that, we have not spoken. So what I thought we could do tonight, Allison, is I would like to build upon the foundation that we started last week when Lenny was talking about gratitude and really what it means coming from the heart in terms of being in alignment with your core values, as well as basically using your way of speak, if you will. You know, how do you support your women? First of all, Allison, outside of being a Reiki master teacher, I'll give you context.
My wife.
Allison's been in the energy arts, if you will, for 20 years. She was initially a professional esthetician. She's a Reiki master teacher, which she's basically got me to Reiki too. In order for me to get to Reiki master, she said maybe in 10 years, she'll let me if I practice my craft. The bottom line is that she was introduced to Reiki, which is a great form of energy healing, transference, if you will. There's Reiki 1, 2, Reiki master, and Reiki master teacher. So she's as good as it gets in that area. She is certified to teach Reiki. That said, she's also a coach for women or entrepreneurs in general, but she tends to have a women's group that she has created, helping women entrepreneurs across the world. She's got clients from Australia, and she's got Her Witch in Poland. You've got clients in England. You have clients a lot in Canada, the US. They're kind of scattered everywhere. But what you're working with the women is getting solid with your why, similar to what we do with the air shred, getting solid with your intention. Is it aligned with your core values? And of course, how do you frame your messaging so that you can be attractive to others, primarily through social media? But my thought is, let's build on what, first and foremost, when you talk to your ladies, when do you bring up the idea of gratitude in their business? Are they grateful for the business, or how do you position vibrational energy? I mean, I know you teach on this.
Whew, yeah, there's a lot. You know, really what it's all about is connecting with your soul's purpose, your soul's mission. I talk a lot about, my program is called Selling from Your Soul. And what that means to me is that is really when you feel so deeply connected with your own life messages. We all come here and we have certain life messages to deliver. And that is through our experiences, both, you know, the hardships and then the breakthroughs that those hardships lead us to. And so one of the very first things that we go through, because I'm a big believer that, you know, if you feel connected to those life messages and your own life purpose, you can deliver those messages in any way you choose, right? Now, for many of us here in the ER Shred, we've chosen the vehicle of the ER Shred to make that our life's work, right? And so selling from your soul is really when your business is an extension of you in your entirety, mind, body, and spirit. It's a unique expression of your, what I believe is your soul's purpose, or, you know, you could say your heart's desire or your mission, or, you know, whatever it is that you believe, whatever you feel connected to. And it goes just beyond, you know, you as an individual or the impact, you know, for you or for your family. It's really when you're tapped into what it is that you are meant to do here, so that you can really step into making a bigger impact, right? And when you look at it from that perspective, right, when you think about sharing the ER Shred from the perspective of paying it forward, or from the perspective of impact, how much impact can I have here on earth if I would just be willing to get out of my own way? Because there's this battle, right, between, you know, you want to do that in your heart, but then your mind often comes in and sabotages and tells you why you can't, or it's silly, or people are going to listen. So there's sort of this battle between your heart and your mind. And so selling from your soul is really about when we are heart-centered and we are acting from our core values, like you talked about. Maybe my core values are authenticity or integrity. And so when I'm acting from that space, and I'm sharing from that space, that's when I'm in alignment. That's when I'm in flow. That's when I'm magnetic. You know, when I'm acting from passion and something that inspires me, you know, that's when I'm really going to become abundant in my business as the result of my willingness to align with, you know, my soul's purpose and take that inspired action. So when we talk about gratitude, one of the very first things that I talk to my clients about is when we're developing kind of, okay, what are your life messages? What is your life purpose? Like, you know, when you talk about Steve Jobs, you know, it's the inspiration of the messaging, or Simon Sinek, that pulls you in, right? It's how you make people feel that pulls people in and magnetizes them to you. So we first have to start with, you know, an understanding of who are we, what are our core values, what are our life messages. And I take my clients on this journey that I call the spiritual map, which I encourage you guys all to do, which really kind of is this timeline from birth till now of all of the events in your life that you can remember. You want to fill it in as much as you can, just like free write all of the significant events and things that have happened to you in your life. And then you want to kind of key in on the three main ones that you in your mind, you know, believe to be really the kind of the turning points.
So can I ask one quick question? I know you don't like this, but I'm going to try to put this in context for our audience.
Yeah.
So let's go with the new vision of the upside down triangle, which Lenny came up with, which I love.
Uh-huh.
So as we're creating our roots at the very, very base, are you suggesting that in order to start, you want to identify your core values? So you're telling people to journal and to freestyle write, which means just write What would you start with?
Okay, so what I take people through is the spiritual map. So you're gonna look at the timeline of your life. What are the main events that have happened to you in your life? And you start brainstorming it. You start remembering, oh, the birth of my sister and this, and maybe you went through a divorce, maybe you went through a health crisis, maybe whatever it may be. But what are kind of those three main turning points, and what did those lead you to in your life? What were the breakthroughs that those led you to in your life? And you'll start to notice that there are patterns. If you look at the different events in your life and you start to like free write and journal about, okay, what did I take from those events? What did I learn from those events? Looking back, I may have been in the middle of crisis, but if I were to look back, then I could see that those events took me to different places that maybe you met your wife because out of some crisis, and whatever it may be, you're going to start to see how everything is connected. And you start to look back on those events, even the tough times, from the perspective of gratitude. Looking at even the tough stuff that you went through, what did I learn? What did it bring me to? Who am I today because of those things? Who am I not today because of those things? Who's in my life today because of those things? Who's not in my life because of those things? Did it bring me to the career that I'm in? Did it bring me to the person that I was meant to meet? Like these kinds of things. So what you're doing is you start to see how your life is being gently and sometimes not so gently guided in your favor. And you can look back with gratitude on those things. From those events and what you learned from those events, you start to develop, like, who am I? What's important to me?
My guys.
What are the lessons that I learned from going through those things? And that starts to become the foundation of really your core values. Okay, so if I look back at the times when I had the most struggle in my life, I'll just give you an example. It's because I wasn't authentically being myself. I didn't feel free to express myself authentically, to live my life authentically. And so for me, or maybe another example is I wasn't listening to my intuition. I was in a situation that I got into, even though I knew it wasn't good for me, and I wasn't listening to my intuition. So maybe some of my life messages or my core values that are important to me are living a life of authenticity, just radical being who you are unapologetically. And that is part of the message that I share with people. And that is really, really important to me. Right? Or listening to my own intuition when it comes to my body, my health. So when you understand, what is important to you and what your messages are, then you can start to kind of wrap that into what it is that you're doing. Right? And a lot of what I love about the ER Shred culture is it is a safe space for you to just be yourself. We talk about that transparency and that authenticity in sharing and in connecting with people, and not all the rah, 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 and the kind of the fakeness and the, some of the network marketing, like what gives us a bad name, right? If I'm acting in integrity because I'm sharing in a way that's authentic, then I'm going to be more successful in my business because that is a part of who I am, right? And if I'm doing the rah, 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 now I'm out of alignment with who I am and what my life messages are. And that may work for other people. That's not going to work for me.
Let me ask you this. So first and foremost, the suggestion, which I love, and it's hard to do, by the way, this isn't easy work.
No, this is deep soul searching work.
Get yourself an empty, not a journal that's got half and half work, friends, whatever numbers, but get a brand new journal and literally set it aside. And when you have that quiet moment, either in the morning or early morning, or maybe it's in the evening, start to write your thoughts down, or some people suggest maybe keeping it by the bed. Sometimes you wake up with some amazing thoughts and jot them down right away. But what I think, Allie, what you mean by freestyling is you're just writing whatever comes to your mind, right? You're just basically.
Yeah, I mean, when you're doing the timeline, you definitely want to like try to think
Stay to the timeline,
chronologically.
but write whatever comes to your mind. Like you're not necessarily trying to think about what to write down.
Yeah,
But what
exactly. How did
naturally
it feel? What
comes-
did life look like? Like just kind of just like allow yourself to kind of purge it and process it and release it, because and a lot of times we hold energy, negative energy or painful energy in these certain events. And what I'm asking you to do is look at it through the lens of gratitude. How have I grown? Where have I grown? Who am I today because of? What did I have to learn? What skills do I have now because of it? And when you can reframe and when you can take pen to paper and you're the one who's in charge of the story because you're rewriting it from a new lens and a new perspective, there's something very powerful about that.
One thing that I noticed when I did this for myself is the awareness and the understanding. And actually, I was grateful for the first time. Wow, I'm actually very grateful for my divorce, because this is what happened. But as a result of, here are the things that transformed me. My awareness grew. I became focused on my health. It led me to Isagenix. It then led me to yoga. And it just kind of, as you said, it just kind of opened up a whole new pathway for me. But it was initially the fact of writing it down on paper and beginning to really look at it, as you said, from a place of gratitude, not a place of resentment or anger or frustration, but looking at from gratitude, how did it make me a better person? And I have now found in my life, and this is my question to you, that some of your most difficult, challenging times in your life were your greatest moments for growth.
100%. And so, I think about your situation and everything with the financial industry and, that rat race and just the complete opposite of what you're doing right now. And it's like having that polar opposite experience and, not being able to spend as much time with Kendall when she was really little, when you were in that industry, right? And then being able to then have this gratitude for what you're doing now because you had gone through that experience. Now you have that perspective. It just deepens your connection with what you're doing right now and your passion for what you're doing right now and why it's so important to you on a personal level, right? So that you can go out and share that and be so committed to what it is that you're doing, because you're linking it to, this personal experience that you had that is so deeply important to you and impactful for you. Like this isn't just, hey, we're just slinging shakes out there. This is about finding the deeper meaning to what it is that we're doing. And we're not selling a kit. We're not selling the ER Shred kit. We are sharing a transformation, right? We're sharing our life messages. Totally different. Totally different.
I know I'm jumping way ahead, but I just want to make a mention of it. And then we're gonna
Okay.
go back again.
Okay.
One of the beautiful things you do for your women, and when you are actually talking to people, or I see you actually do this with Isagenix or with ER Shredders, is that you just don't take the surface answer from them. Why are you interested now? And they say, oh, I got a wedding coming up, or, it's the holidays. And I thought maybe if I could get the 5 pounds off before I put the 15 on, it won't be so bad, whatever it might be. Right.
Yeah.
But you start asking probing questions to say, well, what changes in your life when you lose whatever? You dive deeper because your goal is you really want to get to the emotion
Yeah.
of the why. so that they can feel what the difference will be when they have success with either our core our traditional, or today we're obviously speaking about ER Shred, which is bigger,
Yeah.
faster, stronger. So do you want to talk about that a little bit in terms of how does that transfer? Now I understand my vision, my why, and my purpose. You're doing ER Shred, you're feeling better. Why don't we talk about, I do want you to lead there eventually, and that is asking the right questions and the probing questions to get to the real raw emotion, the root reason. Why are you here today? And why are you wanting to do the ER Shred? And in many cases, it's not I want to have a transformation like Mimi, or I want to lose 15 pounds, or I want to have abs like Sean. There's usually there's usually a deeper reason for
There's
it.
always, there's an activity called 7 layers of why, where if you keep asking somebody, why is that important to them? Well, why is that important to you? You will eventually hit on a very, very deep place. It's like peeling away the onion, it's never the surface why they want to do it. All right. Well, they want to lose weight. Well, why is that important to you? Well, I want to feel confident in my body. Well, okay. What will change for you when you feel confident in your body? Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll, put on some nice clothes and go out on a date with your hubby. Oh, tell me a little bit more about that. Well, I'm feeling a little bit like, because I don't feel good in my body, I'm not connecting with my husband as much. And, well, tell me, what was that like when, was there a time when you were connecting with him? How did you feel about your body? Oh, well, that was 10 years ago. And this is what it was like. And we would, and they start to tell you about their life, and they start to like really understand what the actual deeper reason why they want to feel more comfortable in their body. And maybe it's, and I was in a situation like really.
Sorry about that.
You're echoing. And maybe it has something to do with them feeling disconnected from their significant other because they don't feel comfortable being intimate. And that's obviously, it's one example. But when you start to really get to the meat of what's actually going on with somebody, and to give them a space to share. People are craving connection, right? It's not enough anymore to just make a post on Facebook and flash sale, Black Friday and whatever. Like, that's not going to get people to take action. What we know about human behavior and human psychology, this is where my psych background comes in. I love it. But what we know about human behavior is that, right before somebody takes action to do something, they have to feel something. So the action that they take is predicated on the feeling that they have right before. So if you can get somebody to feel an emotion, right, they're going to then take that action to reach out or to, enroll or, whatever it may be. But if you're just posting, hey, Black Friday, hey, we've got great shakes and there's this many nutrients in them and they're grass fed, nobody's feeling anything from that. That's not inspiring anybody to do anything. But if you can get them to actually tap into their deeper why of why this is so important, then they tap into that inner fire of motivation, right? To take that next step. And if you can support them and you can show them that it can be a different way and that they can have something different than what they are currently experiencing right now, through something as unique as ER Shred, because that's the cool thing about it is it's not like anything else, So that combination of listening to that person, allowing them to really tap into what is their driving why, that's going to really catapult them into action. And then coupling that with, shifting their beliefs about what is possible, by showing them examples of what is possible, and then showing them that we have something that is new and different that they have not done before. That combination is what is going to help you to inspire somebody into action.
So on what you're saying right now, and this is going to get, guys, we're going deep. And this is the witchiness starting to come out.
The witchy hour.
Write this stuff down and take this seriously. It sounds goofy as all get out. Yeah, journal, free write, freestyle, throw out my feelings. If you can get yourself to do this forced diary, if you will, it will change your life. It will change your life as it relates to your relationships. It's going to change your life as it relates to your work, be it if you have a job. It definitely is going to reconnect you or align you with your business purpose if you're doing ER Shred, and we're on the ER Shred business call. One thing that just hit me was that we learn by, they either say kinesthetically, we feel, we see, or we hear. Those are the three ways we learn. What I have learned is that if you can read and hear, so you see it and you hear it, your memory is going to be better and it's going to stick with you longer. But as Allie was pointing about getting to the feeling, getting to the raw emotion around that understanding, that's the bullseye. That's the bingo, because that's what moves us. And we'll get back to energy here in a little bit. But energetically, everything we do is through our feelings. And I love the saying that Sean always says, it's all about the feelings. It's all about the feelings in doing the product and experiencing ER Shred. It's all about the feelers or the feelings as it relates to the business. And I think the greatest gift, if you can get this from Allison tonight, or as we're discussing this, if you can have this aha moment and combine the two and understand that the purpose behind experiencing the ER Shred as an individual and the emotional shift that is happening within you. And I want you to understand that connectivity to the business, it's one and the same. And that is, you learn by going through an experience. And even though you're not doing the business or you're thinking about or scratching your head, this is the beauty of ER Shred. We know that you're going to go through a transformation. We know that you're going to come alive on day 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, but there's going to be that moment of, oh my God, I feel great. We know that when you come alive, you energetically shift. And as a result, you get excited and happier, and it begins to then impact your relationships. It impacts everything. You're in the zone. Things start to flow, as Allison said. Why she asked you to freestyle journal is to get this on paper. Someone once said to me that if you have an idea or concept, it's meaningless unless you write it down. And maybe that's what they meant by this. But if you can take the next 2 weeks, we won't have another call until next Thursday's Thanksgiving, which is all about being thankful and grateful, right?
Mm-hmm.
The following Thursday, we will have our next Shredders Unite. And for those that are serious enough to willing to take this thing on, rewatch this call, but start to journal and write down some of these things so that you can get to your core values and your alignment. And that's it. I just wanted to point out, we're going through an experiential learning process doing the ER Shred. And we don't have to be told what to feel or what to say or read this script or follow this promotion or we have this seasonal shake. All we're asking you to do is, as Sean said, there's a lot of depth here. Get in connection with your inside, your in spirit. You're inspired. It comes from within. Inspire yourself by being connected to your emotions, to your feelings, and then understand how that's going to change. That transference will occur for you, the person who you're sharing it with. You're just transferring vibrational energy at a much higher level. Okay, I'm going to give it back to you, but I think this is kind of cool stuff.
Good. What are you going to give back to me? What do you want from me? Well, how can I serve?
So, okay, so I like the concept of we got to create, when you do a business, and this is just business 101. It all starts with your vision and your mission statement and your core values. So you kind of already outlined that. We're at the bottom base of the upside down triangle. Now we want to be able to grow the roots up. How important is it, okay, vibrationally, like when you're starting to feel better in yourself, in terms of you look better, your self-confidence increases, your self-esteem, you're excited, you're happy, or maybe you're smiling more often. Energetically, when you start to shift, people notice. Who does that attract typically?
And it's going to be attracting people who, are on that same vibration.
Exactly.
Right?
So
Because like
what-
attracts like. So, when a lot of people will find that when they first start, going down this journey, and this is the facade. I mean, you maybe came for the physical, but you're leaving with the mental, emotional, and the spiritual, whether you like it or not. You may be doing a physical detox, but we know that, when you are detoxifying the fat out of the body, our fat is very protective, and from an energetic standpoint, holds memories and emotions, stores painful experiences. And when you start flushing that out, things are going to start to come to the surface. That's why you'll notice that people will get very emotional, because which is great, because they're literally just releasing, what maybe they've been carrying with them for 5, 10, 20 years, their whole life, even sometimes, right? So this isn't just a physical experience. This is an emotional experience that's obviously impacting the mental clarity that you're having. And then the spiritual comes in where, people start to find purpose. They start to feel more intuitive. They start to feel more alive, right? That's the spiritual aspect, right? That's, there's all of those components. What was the question you asked me?
No, I mean, you're just vibing. Actually, this is all good. So
who are you attracting? Okay, yeah. So when you first come in, you may be more low vibrating. So physically you're low vibrating, your energy is lower. Maybe you're not putting foods in your body that are so supportive of your health, and food has a vibration, right? If you're eating McDonald's, or if you're eating, food that isn't clean or pure, you're eating processed, that's low vibrating, right? You're maybe dragging ass, you're, not in a good spot, your health isn't in good condition, whatever. And that's impacting your mood, and that's impacting your outlook on life, and that's impacting your relationships and your interactions. So you may come into it in this, lower vibrating state. And then once you start, putting these products and this super densely nutritious food in your body, you are, in a whole new realm, and that's impacting you, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And now all of a sudden you're vibrating high, and the people around you who are not doing the shred, or who are not doing their version of whatever, right, are not at that vibration. And you may notice that you are, maybe your friends, or maybe people in your life who are still kind of stuck in the mud, they're not resonating with each other. It's because you're not on the same wavelength. And then you are attracting new people and new situations into your life, who are more along the lines of the vibration that you are at.
That's a beautiful concept. And I think this is really, really important for all of you to understand, because I know I had the same happen to me. I know, Allison, because I was your coach. I know what you went through with some of your core friends before Isagenix, and then after. Two things are going to happen. As you begin to vibrate at a higher level, as Allison stated, you're going to attract like people, higher vibrating, happier, creative, outgoing people. They're going to come into your world. They're going to be attracted to your energy because of that. The same goes for people who aren't experiencing ER shred. If they choose not to, you may find they may become spiteful, hateful. They'll attack you even. They'll try to tear you back down and they want you to get back in the ditch with them. They won't understand you've changed, something's happened to you. It's awful, whatever. I think the lesson I learned is I had to really be solid and in tune with myself of who do I want to be and who do I want to attract, and taking a second view or just looking at what are the things in my world that may be holding me down, that are making me less than. This is a real transformational experience that we all go through.
Well, one of the things that happens is, so when we first started, we started the Mindful Health Lounge. That's what we called it, right? Because this really is a journey about becoming more present and becoming more aware. So the majority of people are going through life on autopilot. They're just sort of sleeping through life. They're just in their routine and in their habits and, doing their thing like business as usual. And their mind and their thoughts, whether they're positive or negative, whatever the default setting is, they're just sort of like a hamster, just living their life like that. When you start this process and you have to become more aware of, where am I sourcing my food and what am I putting in my body and how does my body react when I put this in my body, and I like how my body feels when I eat this, but I don't like that. You're starting to become more intuitive into the language of your body. Now, the other thing that happens is, so we're avoiding putting certain things in our body, so certain toxins. We become more sensitive to energy in general and to toxic things in our lives, not just physically the food that we're eating, but toxic people, relationships, things like this. And it requires us to start really taking a look at having better boundaries. Like, what do I want to let into my life? Like, do I want to hang around with Debbie Downer when I'm feeling so good and so lit up? And you start to really reevaluate, right? Not just on the physical level, but really in every level. What is working for me? And it's a great time to talk about it because it's the full moon. And the full moon is really a time to release. It's like a reset, a reset of your consciousness of like, what is not working for me in my life anymore, right? And how am I going to move into this next phase with intention? What is it I'm letting go of? And each month that you're on the ER shred, you're going to notice that you're going to be letting go of more and more things that don't bring you joy, because you're in this high vibrating state. And so you don't want, you know what it feels like to be up here. And then you start to notice, what are the things that bring me down? And you don't like that. Right. And so that's what starts to happen.
So there is, it is so deep in that we share because we care, but then when we get the gratitude for sharing and having an impact on others, and if we're lucky enough, they share their story and they get emotional on Sean's call on Wednesday night with Crystal, and you're like, oh my God, how wonderful is that? Oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, our feel-good hormones go through the roof, and as a result, we want more of the same. And then when we come down, because we haven't been sharing it as much and we take account and awareness, it's like, wow, I liked when I was feeling good, helping out Susan and Don and John and Sean. And I felt so much happier intuitively. So either, I'm talking about from your subconscious, it's going to drive you to share more, even though you're not necessarily focusing on it. It just naturally occurs. And that's what I was trying to get
because
across.
Of that feeling. And that gets back to, I have to feel something before I take action. So if I can get into that state of if I can tap into what it feels like for somebody to be grateful for me, like that feels really good when somebody says, thank you, I'm feeling amazing, whatever. that's an addictive feeling. And that feeling causes you to then take action to go out and share more.
That's it. Well, I know we're towards the end of the hour. I know this goes, we can go on for hours about this. This is just a lot of information, but my suggestion would be is this, get yourself that empty journal, start to freestyle write. It can be about the business. It can be about your personal life. It can be about your relationships. Just write. I think it's interesting. You mentioned doing the timeline of your life for those, if you're not really kind of focused in on what your core values are now. I think that's a wonderful exercise. But the biggest thing is that we've got Thanksgiving, and just be grateful for what we have in ER Shred. A gratitude journal is another good one. Just write down, get in a habit every night of what you're grateful for, and you'll go to bed thinking about that.
Yeah, I like to tell people to find 3 things throughout the day that they're most grateful for that happened to them during the day, so that you're actively training your brain to look for things to be grateful for. So like, not just, oh, I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful for this. Well, we know, but like, what happened to you today that where can you get into a state of appreciation? Like, not just on a surface level, but like, I'm so appreciative that, the person in front of me paid for me, my Starbucks or whatever it may be. And so your mind is actively looking for the 3 things that you can get into a state of appreciation around. And then a more advanced technique, once you get that down pat, is to find the things to be grateful for in the shitty moments of your day. Like, I'm late for work. This sucks. I have to sit in traffic. Okay, what can I be grateful for in this moment? Well, maybe there's an accident up there and I'm grateful that I'm not in it. That's a little bit harder, but when you start going there, like, your whole world turns around if you can retrain your brain to do that.
Wonderful. Well, we got to build on this in pieces. I'm going to have you back, of course, and also it'd be fun to kind of do a panel discussion on these topics.
For sure.
With other people who are energetically in alignment, which the beautiful thing with ER Shred is I think many of us are coming to this awareness naturally through our physical transformation, as Allison pointed out, is your mental transformation. And with that, the genius of ER Shred, it's very deep. It's all about the feelings. It's all about the feelers, as Sean has said. And I hope tonight brought some clarity and maybe a different way of observing, and also maybe bringing some awareness to you all. That this is the ground floor, heartfelt vision of ER Shred. This is where it begins. And if you can grasp this and build on it, we will be super successful, and there will be nothing that can stop us, because we are literally coming from our core heartfelt values. It's not promotion. It's not marketing. It's not gimmickry. It's not upselling. It's not selling. I sell the business builder kit at $1,200 a pop, or I'm selling a $600 pack, so I made more BV than you did, or mine's bigger than yours, or my biceps are bigger, whatever. It's authentic, it's real, it's raw, and because of that, this community is going to explode, provided we stay on message. Be true to yourself.
People are looking for this more than ever before. They're looking for that connection. I mean, there's so much disconnect. There's so much divisiveness. And, when people feel like they can be a part of something that's actually positive in this world, and feel connected and heard and seen. I mean, it's just everything, and that is when we talk about a Steve Jobs or a Simon Sinek, really starting from the inside, building from the inside out, the core values of who we are and what we stand for. And before we even get to, okay, well, this is what you eat and that's what you eat. That's part of it, but it's not what brings people in and brings people together.
Awesome. Well, guys, 2 weeks, go out and buy your new journals, buy a few pens. I would love if maybe our next time on
Post in the group.
We'll post in the group. In the Shredders Unite group, post just like you would about your transformation on a physical basis, or energetic, or sleeping, or you're happier, your mood. Begin to think about this from the standpoint of the business. What ahas have you had? What epiphanies? What are the connections that you've made this day? We want to celebrate. We want to celebrate you.
What is your mission? What is your unique personal mission, and why is it important to you?
That's strong, because I think if you can post that not only in the Shredders Unite group, but as my wife would say, get it on your Facebook page for the rest of the world to see it.
Yes.
Believe it or not, there are people who will resonate with your message and who'll say, oh my God, I want that too. And
yes.
What do you get? You have a new connection. You have a new person that you can impact, and someone that may or may not, but hopefully will more likely than not join ER Shred. Hey, Sean, do you want to jump on here, buddy? How did we do tonight? The big boss is on.
I'm chatting with people in the chat.
Okay.
So I like to see, how people feel about it. But the reason I love these calls, Bob, Ali, is because there is depth here. And I will say that all the other business calls that I got on over the years, it was always surface level stuff. It was always, like you always talk about, Bob. It's like, it's all about bigger, faster, stronger, winning. And so for me, we're trying to make better people. And that's where I feel the sincere intent is coming from. And for me, and I know for you, and I know for Ali, that's really where it's at. So thank you so much, you guys. This is beautiful. And I love the thought of us all kind of doing this together in our own space. I like the thought of those, we're all in our own space, but we're all in the same atmosphere, and we can all feel each other as we work through this. And it is work. I'll admit that it is work, but we're growers. That's what separates us from most everybody else, is that we are growers, and growers do the hard things to grow. And so I'm committed. I'm sure everybody.
We are cultivators.
That's it.
If we can do this as a group, we're only as strong as our weakest link in the ER Shred community. You've heard that saying before. Sure. It's the same thing with this. As you pointed out, Sean, if we could do this independently, but as a group, take on this exercise, it's only going to improve us to be that much better. And it's going to elevate the energy of this group. We're all going to be better, and we're going to grow faster because of it. So it is up to us as leaders. Everybody on this call is a leader, because you're looking to support and become a superhero for other people. Love that analogy. We're all superheroes. Yes. But as such, when you're a leader, it takes responsibility, and you got to up level. And with that, you need to do the work on yourself. So in order for me to have an impact on others, I gotta take care of myself first. Same thing we do with our ER Shred journey, right? Anyway, that's it, folks. That's about as good as I got on this full moon. Thank you, Allison, from the bottom of my
went
heart.
outside. It's still covered by clouds, but I'll go stand out there anyway. Thanks, you guys.
I knew you would bring it, Allison. Thank you.
Thank you,
for
honey.
being
Thank you, Ali.
You're
It worked
welcome.
well. Guys, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy
Means
your
a lot
families.
to be here every night, every Thursday.
Hugs, virtual hugs to all of you, and we'll see you 2 weeks from tonight.
Happy
Take care,
Thanksgiving,
everyone.
Guys.
Good
Happy
night.
Thanksgiving, everyone. Love you guys.
Bye, John Bear. Bye, Dawn.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Sweetheart.
That's
Okay, happy
sweet.
Thanksgiving, buddy.
Sweetie.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Courtney.
Thanksgiving, everyone. That's awesome. Good night.
Good night.